Oh, top of the morning to you. I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. Hey guys, Brian Hannah here. Today I want to talk about the United States Supreme Court. So, I wanted to make this yesterday, but didn't end up getting a chance to. But yesterday, President Obama nominated Merrick Garland to the open Supreme Court seat that was vacated by Justice Antonin Scalia when he passed away last month. And I want to talk a little bit about Merrick Garland's background and positions and everything. So, a little bit about him is he grew up in Chicago. He went to Harvard College and then Harvard Law School. And he graduated with honors. He was summa cum laude and valedictorian at Harvard College. He was magna cum laude at Harvard Law School. He's definitely qualified. If you just look at qualifications, he obviously had a lot of success in academia, in law school, and everything. He practiced law. He started out clerking for different people. Like he clerked for Justice William Brennan of the United States Supreme Court at one point. He then joined a private firm. It was Arnold and Porter. He worked there for 4 years before becoming a partner. Worked there for another few years. Then he ended up joining the Justice Department in the criminal division, and he worked there and he was a prosecutor for them. Prosecuted some high-profile cases. Like the most notable one I saw was the Oklahoma City bombing case, where he was one of the key decision makers in going for the death penalty in that case, and he was one of the main prosecutors just in that case in general. He was then nominated in 1995 by President Bill Clinton to the D.C. Circuit Court. It was held up for 2 years, but then he took his place on the D.C. Circuit Court in 1997 and has been on the D.C. Circuit Court ever since then, so the past 19 years. And in 2013, he was named Chief Justice, or Chief Judge of the D.C. Circuit Court. So, that's basically the background of him. Obviously, it shows he's got very good qualifications, just, on his legal background. But I want to go into some of his positions because that's obviously an interesting thing to look at for a Supreme Court justice, because it's one thing to be qualified. Most of them are going to be qualified, but obviously it's basically like a political appointment. So some of the main things I looked at, I wasn't able to find anything on more social issues. When it comes to social issues, the main thing that well, this is more of an assumption than something that he actually ruled on, but based on the fact that he went for the death penalty in the Timothy McVeigh case, I would assume that at least in some circumstances he is okay with the death penalty and would not rule against it, which is not a positive for me. Maybe it would be for some people. I believe that the death penalty, I would like it to be ruled unconstitutional on the basis of being cruel or unusual punishment, but I don't think that he would rule in that way. Other things, social issues, it's hard to find anything on stuff like abortion, civil rights, gay rights, that sort of thing. Those sorts of things, especially abortion, I would assume, based on the fact that he's appointed by President Obama, the Democratic president, that he would uphold Roe versus Wade, because if a Democratic president appointed someone who did not uphold Roe versus Wade, that would be a complete disaster. I mean, it's hard to say because Utah Senator Orrin Hatch is basically cheerleading his appointment and saying that the Republicans really need to get behind him because he's the best case scenario for them to get, and that's a bit of a red flag right there. Again, like I said, I would assume that he would uphold Roe versus Wade, but that's kind of like a bare minimum. Other than that, one of the main things I looked at was his record on campaign finance, and it was not particularly great. He was a lesser-known case similar to that of Citizens United. Most people know about the Citizens United versus the FEC case, but a lesser-known one was ruled on by the D.C. Circuit Court when he was there in 2010, 2 months after the Citizens United case, which was SpeechNow.org versus the FEC, and that was a case that helped to lead to what super PACs are today. It ruled that independent expenditures corporations could give unlimited amounts of money for independent expenditures. So it furthered what the precedent of what Citizens United had already set in place. So that's not a good thing if you're someone that is concerned about campaign finances, money in politics, that sort of thing, which should be important to most people. I know most people are not fans of it. It doesn't really make sense to think that money, massive amounts of money have a positive impact on politics. No matter whether you're on the left or the right, I don't know why you would think that makes sense. But so, that was an important thing to me. I thought that was the decision that stood out the most on his record on that issue. So that's not very positive. The one thing that when I was looking, I looked at websites more on the left and more on the right, and the biggest thing that was mentioned on right-leaning sites was his record on guns. He isn't someone that just goes along with NRA positions. He challenged the Heller case, the ruling in that case. From what I read, it wasn't necessarily that he disagreed with the ruling in the case, but he did challenge the case anyway. So that's why Republicans aren't big fans of that. But it didn't change the ruling in the case; it was still upheld. So really, all in all, he's been described as a centrist, and from what I've read about him, that's basically what he is. He's certainly not someone you would describe as liberal. He's not someone that would, say, for example, be appointed by Bernie Sanders. Like I said, I assume that he would uphold Roe versus Wade and things like that, but I don't know for sure, so that's also a concern. And really, it's not really someone. He's going to be probably more supported by Republicans than Democrats in terms of voters, not necessarily people in the Senate who would vote on it. It sounds like there's a good chance the Republicans are going to strike it down anyway, or not even vote on it, actually. And then if the Democrats win the presidential election in November, they'll probably just end up confirming Merrick Garland in the lame duck session, which is, my hope is that if it gets to that point and we haven't confirmed someone and the Democrats win, I would hope that they just wouldn't. I would hope they wouldn't confirm someone and we can get someone who's like an actual liberal, not like basically an old school Republican. That's kind of what he sounds like. So yeah, that's basically, I guess, my take on him. He's very qualified, but I think that we could do a lot better in terms of getting someone who would not be a swing vote like Justice Kennedy. Nothing against Justice Kennedy, but he's considered the swing vote. I would hope that President Obama would appoint someone that wouldn't be a swing vote going from the left to the right or whatever. He would be someone we could count on things like upholding Roe versus Wade, upholding the gay marriage ruling, and maybe most importantly, trying to get campaign finance reform. To me, that should be a litmus test for anyone being nominated. But so that's my take on it. That's a little bit about him, and so yeah, I guess that's it. Comment down below your thoughts on the nomination, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.